From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. Hey yo, heart of a villain beats hard in the centrifuge. Bearded BP, 100 interviews. All it takes is 2 mics and 1 line. This is Bearded Villains podcast worldwide. Driving cross countries, getting ball tires. Fam across ponds, always inspired. Chapters connect, and then it's on fire. Check your phone, cause BV is like a live wire. They said that we couldn't do it and that another could. Never underestimate the power of brotherhood. Every bro, every chapter, every caption. Heart of a villain, bro. Lights, camera, action. Action, action, action. Let's go. BP. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Friday night edition of The Heart of a Villain, the podcast and live stream devoted to the Bearded Villains Worldwide Brotherhood. Guys, it is a Friday night. We are back on Friday nights just for this week only because we have a special idea that has just kind of percolated over the, well, it's been something I've been thinking about doing over the last few weeks, but as things happen in life, right? There are times when you come across something, you see something, when people say things, you just come, it just, things happen, right? Things just happen at the right time. And I've been thinking about doing this topic for a bit, and then all of a sudden, just a certain set of circumstances have happened in my life, in other people's lives, and I've seen a certain brother we're going to be talking to tonight, went live with a message yesterday that just really fit and hit home a little bit with what I was already thinking about in a different way, but the raw nature in which he spoke really touched me and really hit home. And I said, this is something speaking to me, saying that this is the right time to do it. So we moved everything to make everything work for tonight, and we pushed it back from last night to tonight. So hopefully that didn't mess up too many people's schedules. And if it did, I'm sorry. You can listen on a regular podcast platform later on. Where can you do that? Well, you can listen to that on, see how fancy I'm getting here, theheartofavillain.simplecast.com, theheartofavillain.simplecast.com, or you can listen on any other podcast platform. If this is your first time here, hey, I'm BP. Nice to meet you. I doubt you're the first time here, but hey, if you are, great to see you. Great to see you. This is episode 179. 179. Just a few more episodes down the road, we're going to be hitting number 200. I have no idea what's going to be in store for that one. We'll just have to wait and see. But it's tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about the topic of reflection, and it's a very wide-ranging topic. I have no idea exactly where this is going to go. I'm just going to say that right now. Anytime we bring in kind of a roundtable discussion, we have no idea. We have no idea where it's going to take us. And I have kind of an idea where to start from. But as you know, I had a conversation with Popeye yesterday, and I've had many conversations with our other guests that are coming in tonight as well. But these are the best conversations, I think, sometimes, when we just start out with kind of an idea and we just see where our heart takes us and where our minds take us, and where we're going to go from there. But I'm going to bring in a couple guests here in just a second. One of our guests is unfortunately running just a little bit behind doing some family stuff, so he'll be joining us in just a little bit. I'm talking about Popeye, but I've got Matt that's going to join us in just a couple minutes, and Radar, Matt from all the way down in Australia. We're doing some technology wizardry tonight, guys. We got Midwest, we got somebody on the Near East Coast, we got somebody in Australia, all joining us tonight. It's going to be a fun time, and hopefully, if nothing else, I know the four of us are going to get some good stuff out of this conversation, and hopefully, anybody that's going to be listening to this too is going to pick up some stuff from it as well. Before I bring in our guests, I just want to talk for a minute about the tonight. I'm going to be talking after we get done with the interviews. Like I said, I have no idea how long this show is going to go. I'm going to do merch just a little bit differently tonight, because we've mentioned merch the last few weeks. I know there were several patches that were available, raising money for our brother Fox for his cancer fight, and due to a few sets of circumstances that we're going to talk about a little later, I wanted to just kind of focus on a couple of things, and hopefully, I always worry about this. Hopefully, I'm not forgetting anybody. I'm sure anybody in our anybody in our um, anybody in our chat will make sure if I am forgetting somebody, they'll let me know. But the merch tonight, I'm just going to be mentioning two specific things, and they're raising money for families. And I think it's important just to set aside other stuff and focus on them. If, like I said, in preparation for tonight and trying to get everything in order, there's a possibility that I've forgotten something. And like I said, if that's the case, somebody will please let me know that I've forgotten something, and we'll just take it from there. And I'll apologize to the ends of the earth. But so what I wanted to where I wanted to start with tonight was this idea of reflection, and the purpose being that I don't know if it's like a midlife crisis. I don't know if it's well, it might be that. um, I don't know if it's just it's become a situation over the last several years that I've become very reflective for a variety of reasons. Getting older, your body feeling older, your age just creeping up on you now. Pushing 50 this year. The big 50 will hit me. But over the last few years, at this age, if it doesn't happen earlier in life, watching friends, watching old high school classmates pass away before you think they should at a young age, watching friends that you've met in your adult life pass away, and you see through a variety of circumstances, it makes you just kind of contemplate what your place is and where your place is and what you want to do, how you want to be remembered, all sorts of deep thoughts. And these things dominate some of my thought processes during those late quiet moments at night after everybody in the family's gone to bed. And I found myself thinking about, kind of spending some time reminiscing, enjoying. It's very easy for me. I'm a very visual person, an audible person. So I find myself going down rabbit holes all the time on YouTube and different things, where it's just like a memory lane type of thing. And I love doing that. It gives me chills. It gives me all sorts of really cool creative thoughts, thinking back on life and how quickly time flies and how fleeting it can be, as a certain Mr. Robin Williams used to say on Dead Poets Society. So many of those good one-liners in there. But it makes me think about, how I want to be remembered. And it makes me think about, it makes me realize what an amazing addition to my life Bearded Villains has been. Yeah, most of you know my story, that I went to high school, graduated from college, right out of college, got married and started my first adult job in law enforcement at 23 years old. And when you start into that career that quickly, all you know is cops. All you know is cops. And that's all you hang out with. You lose touch with a lot of your old high school friends, and it's just that's the life. And you become known for that job. And I always said, growing up, to myself that I wanted to be remembered not for the job I have, but for the man I am. And that was a really, really important distinction for me. And unfortunately, in that line of work, it's impossible for that to happen, because everywhere you go, people know you for that job. I would go to conventions. I would go to dinners with my wife's, coworkers, whatever. And instantly it's like, hey, and you got any fun stories? Oh, here's the cop. Anytime you walk into a room full of people, oh, shush, here's the cop. And it becomes part of your persona. People don't think of you without that. And it's a crazy way to live. And so all I knew for those first, 20 years of my real adult life, working life, was that life, that, the cops, those kind of people. Making adult connections outside of that profession was next to near impossible. And you're always wondering if somebody does try to befriend you, is there some ulterior motive? Are they doing it for some other reason? Is it because of just who you are? Or the reverse, do people not want to get to know you because of that? And it hinders a lot of that personal growth that you may have. And so you're always on the guard. You're always on guard. But through BV, once I retired and through the connections and the people that I've met through BV, I found it very quickly that, and I've said this before, there's some very, very good people out there. There's some great men out there, and men that come from all walks of life that I never would have met otherwise. And so I think it's taught me so much about who I am and who I want to be. It's reminded me that it's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to have flaws. I have many, but it's okay that you're not perfect, that you don't live a perfect life. There's many, many good people out there who are flawed, who had problems, who would have been on the other side of my previous job many times, but they're good men. Bad decisions at times, but good men. And so BV has allowed me not only to grow as a man, but grow as a father, grow as a husband, and seeing examples from other men, seeing examples set from other men. And it's been one of the most enjoyable parts about what BV is and what it's been for me. So I have learned so much through seeing life through a completely different lens, being a part of BV. And the growth that I think, a personal growth that I've had, has just been immense. And so I just kind of wanted to start there, talking about, reflecting on life and the fact that we always talk about, we as men aren't easily swayed into feeling like we can talk about things. A lot of times we feel like we have to be quiet. We have to hold things in. And this is just a great opportunity, I think, for us to talk a little bit about what BV is, what it's meant to us, and how, if any way, it correlates to how we want to live our life. How do we want to be remembered as men? I'll leave this quote real quick, and then I'll bring our two guests that are here in. And it's there's a quote that I came across, and I remember it during my college days. And it was on a poster I saw, and it said, live your life so that your epitaph reads no regrets. And that was such an eye opener to me. And I just thought, wow, what a life it would be to be able to live that way. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my two guests here now, and the ones that I have so far. And Popeye's going to join us here in just a little bit. But let's bring in our two guests that we have right now. I'm talking about Radar, and I'm talking about Matt. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good, thanks, brother.
What's up?
Well, so hopefully I didn't completely talk everybody's ear off there. I wanted to just kind of set some things up a little bit, but I don't know if you guys were able to really hear a lot about what I said there, but I'm just curious. And let's start from the far side here, down in Australia. What are your thoughts, Matt, on the just being reflective on your time in BV and what it's done for you?
Yeah, just listening to you talk definitely got me thinking. It's been a roller coaster for me. It's definitely taught me a lot about myself, forced me out of my comfort zone. And there's a lot of things that I will always be grateful for. As I suppose, I'll be pretty raw here and go back a bit for me. Like as the the young kid at school that was overweight, that got teased, that always got left out of everything, to now be in a leadership position of my chapter and to have people that believe in me, it's pretty special. And as I said, it's taught me a lot over the years, and it's also allowed me to meet so many amazing dudes out there, people that I would never have met. You know, being as far away as Australia is from everyone else, it's allowed me to meet so many good men that I look up to, that I can reach out to. Yeah, I think this is a topic we could talk about for a while.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know, Radar, you've had many conversations like this on this topic, but just wherever it's hitting you right now, what's on your mind right now?
Yeah, so I know there's like a delay. I'm watching this on like three different monitors.
Oh well,
Um,
don't watch the delayed version. Watch the one that you're talking
no,
to
no,
me
no. I'm gonna address the live version, which is my phone. I have my MacBook, my iPad.
on.
I will say, um, I love when guys, bros, get to speak their truth. I was on a live the other day, last night or yesterday, and it was just like I wish that more of us addressed having our issues, owning our shit. Oh shit! Can I curse? Yeah, I can curse,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Shit, 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 shit.
yeah.
No, no.
Load it up.
No. It's one of those. Like I'm not dropping like f bombs or nothing like that. I just, like so many of us, like we deal with these things, man, as fathers, as uncles, as just brothers. There's a lot of weight attributed to us, and like we definitely we hide how we feel. And I'm such an advocate of guys expressing themselves. That there isn't a I'm soft. You're I hate it. Like I hate it. Like I'm not trying to get too deep in this, but it's just one of those. It's like, man, I wish more guys were just open enough to say that they're going through shit. Like me, I'm super transparent, right? I give you the funny haha. I'm all for the things and things like that, but I make it a point to go, hey, I have my problems too. My kids are assholes. I love my kids. But I have no problem saying that my kids can be assholes. They're not assholes all the time. I can say I'm dealing with relationship issues. Not in a bad way. It's just like, hey, we're just ironing things out. But the transparency needs to be said um, for guys like us that people look forward to, speaking and touching on things because not everyone is up for being as vocal as us. As many of us. You know, I do all the charity, I do all the work, I do all this shit, but I love sharing that. I love sharing with people that I'm a normal ass person, right? Like I go through things. I had a moment just the other night, and it was just like I didn't want to save the video out of embarrassment, because there are times where I go through shit, and it's just like, but this is how people see me. So will that change the dynamic of how people treat me? You know. But you got to step out of that, man. You got to be yourself, right? Regardless of who you are, where you're with, who you represent. Just be authentic, man. Be genuine. Just own your shit. I tell people that all the time. As a hopeful, people come to me and I'm just like, yo, I don't care what you do in this journey. Own it, love it, blah blah blah. But just be yourself the whole damn time, please. Just be yourself.
Do you
Um,
do you feel that there is a expectation, maybe I think is kind of where you were leading to, that um, that you're expected to kind of be two different people, that you're
yeah,
expected to be that charitable person, the person that's always happy, that people always can count on to help lift them up, but that it's not okay for you to be that person that has your own issues, has your own faults, that there are times when you're not always that uplifting person, and that you need to have that downtime to be real with yourself.
Oh yeah, if you're speaking about me personally, yes. Um, but it's expected in a lot of bros. Like we have many bros who encourage others to be positive, live their life because like a lot of us don't understand what we're going through. It's like, hey, you're sick, I'm not. You're unhappy, I'm happy. Uh, your life is shit, my life is great. So we empathize in a lot of situations. We don't sympathize. But I definitely think, you know, I definitely think like it's us. It's us. Like we have that responsibility to go, bro. I'm here for you.
There you go. You're back.
Empathize. Like the apathy has to be there. You have to really go. Can I remove myself from this situation to talk about it? And that's what I do. You know, I go through my own shit, but I never hold anyone accountable for my help, lack of help, situations and things like that. It's just one of those, man. Like you kind of just gotta own it. You kind of you kind of gotta live through what it is you're going through, and your support system is everything. Like me, I've been in this 5 years now, and I love going. I love knowing that I know someone that knows everything about something
Mm.
in BV. But you'll have guys who just don't reach out. You have guys who don't they just don't try, but they're disgruntled. They're upset. They're like, oh, BV isn't for me because I couldn't get my point across of one conversation. It's like, yo, there's a lot of us, man. Like we're here for you. You just got to reach out. You know.
Yeah. I do you think and I'll toss it back to you, Matt, for just a second. Do you feel, and think about your answer here, Radar, too, if it throws you off.
Yeah, I'm
Do you
sorry.
guys
I kind
no,
of.
no, it's just I want to make sure that we bounce around a little bit. That do you guys feel that there is do you guys ever have the conscious thought of like legacy, or what you're being going to be remembered for, or what you're going to be how others are going to be thinking of you, um, as you promote as you show yourself to the world through the lens of BV?
Definitely think about it. Um, I definitely, it's, I think every day you sort of put your best foot forward, knowing that, I want to work towards people remembering myself and my chapter, not just in my area, but the other members' areas as well, as people that have done some good for people around them, that have been supportive. Like I want to be as supportive as I can for the guys in my chapter, and other people around the world that, I speak to, that, through the check-ins that a few of us do on social media, and keeping tabs on one another. Like I want to be someone that can help inspire people. That's how I want to be remembered, someone that was there for others, that helped to inspire people, to create some sort of change, and some sort of positivity in a world that can be a little bit messed up at times. Um, yeah, it's definitely something you sort of you strive towards. You've got to have something bigger than yourself to work towards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Agree. Oh my god, I love that answer. I just do because I say the same. It's just truth. Like I come from shit, man, but I just want to give back to everything that I couldn't do back in the day. So I get it. Totally agree.
Yeah, for me, I had this weird, I don't really call it really an epiphany, if you were to say, that fancy word that it is, but several years ago, and I remember this kind of a flip switch mindset thing that hit me, and honestly, the grown up part of me now, the adult mind in me, probably would recognize it as probably a form of a depression type thought. And I think it's one of those that we all go through at some point in our
We
lives,
do.
but somewhere in the late high school, early college days, um, I went through this thing where I started thinking, even that early on, what if tomorrow is it? What if, because, I think sadly, I think everybody has been through that period of time in that young part of your life where somebody, if it's somebody that in high school or your early college days, that's either is killed in a car accident or has some sort of an accident, or for those of you that served in the military, guys at a very young age lose their lives, and you realize very quickly how fleeting life can be. And I say that word all the time with it, but um, and so for me, when I started thinking about that, I immediately flipped a switch in my mind that said, I don't want to be that person that is remembered as a burden. I don't want to be that person that is remembered as, oh, he was always this, he was always that. I wanted to be the one that said, if people were talking about me, that, after I was gone, I wanted it to be a positive thought. He always had a smile on his face. He always had that. And so I
Yeah.
think from an early age, way back, 30 years ago, I started putting on that mask. I put on that persona of I'm happy all the time.
They're
And now
good.
it's all I've
Yeah.
lived for 30 years. I don't know how to live another way.
Oh yeah, it happens. It definitely happens, bro. It happens. Some of the happiest people we know are not as happy as you would think. Um, but it's what we know. It's what we know how to do. It's just how we live. Like we go, I have to do this just cause. You know what I mean? A lot of us do that,
Yeah.
and it's just what we know. Like me, I've been on my own since I was 16. So like, I don't know how to enjoy life. I know how to live. I know how to survive. And you have to do that. Some of us have to go, okay, this is all I know what to do. This is all I know how to live. This is all I know how to survive and blah, blah, blah. Like, you could tell me right now, you could give me all the money in the world, and I have no idea what I would love to get into because all I know how to do was survive at 16. I left my parents at 16. There was no grant, no money, no scholarship, no nothing. It was like, hey, you're on your own. What would you like to get into? It's like, I have no idea. I just want to live. Growing up where I came from, my old heads, um, they died in their 30s, and I got to say, oh shit, he lived a good life. I didn't know anyone over 40 growing up, but that's my life. That's my life. I'm not just throwing shit out there. Um, People don't understand that. It's just one of those like it's just hard, bro. It's hard to correlate like some people's lives to others and what they experience, what they're allotted. Like it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah. It's one of the most impressive things that BV has taught me as a man, you know, seeing the world through like I said earlier, a completely different lens, and learning about life and the way that other people grew up, because I grew up super pedestrian. I mean, as
Yeah.
normal as I think of normal to be when you see the white male teenager on TV type of a thing. It wasn't
Yeah.
90210, but it was,
He said not us.
it wasn't like
Yeah,
90210 on
yeah.
TV, but it was, a suburb lifestyle,
Yeah.
growing up, and that was just what I knew. I know, Matt, you said you talked about, how others treated you growing up, and did that have any impact, or what kind of impact have you, looking back on it, can you see how it's affected how you live now and how you see the world now?
Oh, it definitely has. Um, you know, being, as I said, sort of bullied and stuff throughout right throughout my sort of primary school and sort of teenage years. It's you sort of start to doubt yourself, and that still creeps into things that I do now. There's times where I'm lucky I have people like Brooke and that in my chapter that just say back yourself, like you've got the right idea, just learn to back yourself. And I think that's something that I still have to deal with, some 20 odd plus years down the track. But it's also taught me to be resilient. And that's one thing I've realized in BV. There is that many resilient dudes out there. Like, there's some of the things that I've heard about people that that they've grown up, what they've gone through in life, and they're still here. That's impressive. Like, it's some people would have tapped out, but they're still here. So it's one thing that I've been able to learn from a lot of people in here is how to be resilient. But it also, what I went through taught me to be resilient too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of strengths that I have now that I can lean on. That I've taken away from what I went through. Everyone has their own story, and everyone takes away different things from what they've gone through. But yeah, you're only, I suppose, someone that I'm quite close with here in the industry that I'm in sort of the sports scene, and he's a competitive bodybuilder, and he's always said to me, "You grow through what you go through," and I think that's something that's sort of I think about a lot. You come through adversity, and then you've learned something. You've learned a new skill, or you've learned a new way of thinking, or whatever it might be to get you through it next time. Yeah, as I said, it's. Yeah, but I think just you saying this, what you said early on before we sort of opened up, got me really thinking about some of this sort of stuff. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool to think back how far you've come. And I think there's a lot of people that should be proud of how far they've come.
Yeah. Do you think, and this is just me off the top of my head thinking, Raiders having a moment there.
Yeah, no, because I agree. Like, I've been on models since I was 16, so I definitely get that sentiment. It's like I didn't have that choice to be, like, my birthday was August 31st. I left my parents at 16 December. That, like, 3 months later, and so it's like some of us don't get that choice. Some of us don't get to go. Oh, well, being set off. Like, my parents literally thought I was gonna fail and I'd come back home. I have not spent a night in my parents' home since I left at 16. That was 20 years ago. Some of us are driven. Some of us are hell bent on proving our parents wrong. Some of us are just completely okay with going, I can take care of myself at 16, 17, 18, 19. So I love what he's saying. I agree. Like, I was an adult at 16, months into me being 16. So
yeah. Do you think that that's had an effect on how you parent, the way that you are as a parent right now, the way that you approach parenthood, based off of your experience when you were 16 or younger?
yes and no. So I love that question. I love that I get to go. I love that I get to compare, like, because I get to say, and this isn't a reach. This isn't a. I sold drugs with my parents, right? And that sucks. It sucks to say, right? Like, at 12 years old, I have to cut rocks, bag them, all that shit, blah, 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 the whole nine. I come from a different era. Um, I could never hold my kids to that standard, but I like to push them, right? I like to make sure that they kind of grow into adulthood. So I'm just like, hey, I sold drugs with my parents. You should just experience other people selling drugs. Avoid it. Blah blah blah. No, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard because you can't relate to this generation. And I'm knocking on 40's door, but it's just one of those. It's like I get to see my kids deal with shit that I could have never. I'm not the Oh, it's like they say. I don't deal with peer pressure. To me, no is no. Um, you'll never smooth talk me into anything. You'll never peer pressure me into anything. I'm lock and key. It's just like, nah. But then I see this generation, and they're like sweet talked into everything. I was like, it's scary. It's scary watching your kids get talked into random bullshit. But
Yeah.
if we're just talking on that, no, I think my kids are okay. I would say my kids are okay because people always hit you with that. Oh my God, what is that term? It's like I'm a product of my environment, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I came from the shit, but I chose to learn. I chose to be different. I chose to be cultured. So no, miss me with that. I'm a product of my environment shit. Like no, you can choose to be better than where you grew up from, because I did that. I came from the nastiest, the guttiest, the worst places in Philadelphia, and I chose to be better than that. So I don't want to hear that. I'm a product of my environment shit, and my kids will never be. The same way they don't say yeah or yep. I'm always like, you mean yes? You mean yes? Because that's what we say around here. Yeah. So,
Yeah, 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 yeah. I remember those days.
yeah, it's like,
I
yep.
remember
What the
those
hell
days.
is yep? You mean yes?
Well,
Yeah.
and it's funny too because I look back on my completely different existence than what you had and the way that I grew up. But
Oh,
the
and
the,
we've
the
talked. We've
yeah
definitely
that
talked.
but this generation that we were back in and I think it's a bigger it's a wider gap back in those days. You know, if you grew up in the late 70s, early 80s, still uh, that was a certain generation that
Bro.
you know
It was like a
you
rite
went
of
through
passage.
things a little differently than the kids today do,
Oh,
and
yeah. It was like a rite of passage.
yeah, and
Yeah.
as a parent, there was that, and I've said this so many times before, and I use this as an example when I was back in law enforcement days, where you know I would talk to the parents, and it's the strangest feeling in the world. I'll tell you, when you're 23, 24 years old, and you're going to a house where there's a domestic disturbance between a teenager and their parent, and
Oh,
the parent
believe
is
it.
in their late 30s or 40s, and I'm trying to tell the parent how to parent better, and I'm 24 years old, and it's just
Well,
weird, and the kid is only 7 years younger than me, in some cases even less than that, and it's a weird thing. But there was that switch somewhere in the 80s where parents decided that it was okay to be their kid's friend, and this is a whole different topic we've talked about before. Yeah, it was easier to parent that way for some, for that short term. It was easier to say,
yeah.
to try and be their friend and not discipline them the way that, and smack the hell out of them the way that we got smacked the hell out of. And so now, times have changed so much that I think a lot of the kids that are growing up today they don't have that internal facing of the adversity. I used to, same way I think you've talked about, and it probably had to be something similar to you, for you, Matt, as well, that when somebody told you no, or when you had a parent that yelled at you and said that, and they were angry with something and they didn't
Or you
believe in
went
you,
off. You went off.
you had that internal thing that said, oh, just wait, I'm going to show you, and it drove you and it pushed you. And now there's so much of this generation right now that's like, well, why don't you love me? Well, why don't you? And it's that, and I don't know where that what where or why that happened, but it's changed the way that people are being brought up, and
Oh, yeah.
it makes it so much more difficult because that's how I grew up, and so I know that apparently I can't say those things as a parent now. I can't come down on them and try to push them that way through those words
Yeah.
because then it's just not right for me to say. And
Yeah. It turns into a whole different demographic.
yeah,
Yeah, I know.
Matt, do you know? I just off the top of my head, I was just thinking. Um, do you think that the adversities and the ways that people treated you with the bullying you said growing up, has that had a direct impact on the fact that you um, find physical fitness such a huge part of your life now?
Yes, there's no doubt about it.
Yes.
It's like I suppose for me, for a long time I let it hurt me, and I've just felt sorry for myself. And then I realised, well, no one's going to help me. The only person who's going to change my current
Oh yeah.
circumstance is me.
Oh yeah. It happens.
And that's when I discovered the whole training thing and the way it made me feel, and the other impact, the other parts of my life that it had a positive impact on. And it's just become a way of life ever since. Like it's something I do
Oh,
daily
correct.
in some capacity, and that's sort of like my non-negotiable.
How
Um,
what other ways has it impacted your life?
it's made me driven in many other facets. Like I also find just from like my mental space. If I don't train for a couple of days, if I'm been ill or whatever, and I haven't trained, I just feel flat mentally and not only physically.
Mm.
And once I train and sort of, I feel like I could be in a horrible mood. I could go and train, and all of a sudden I'm sort of refocused, recentered, and I can sort of tackle something again. Um, so I've used it as a form of therapy, I suppose, to a degree. Not everyone quite
Oh,
understands that. Some people see the vanity side of the whole training thing and what have you, but there's also a very big mental aspect to the whole training, whether it's setting yourself a goal. I want to, squat or bench X amount of weight and working your ass off until you get there. Whether it's, I want to be able to look a particular way, whatever it might be, there's so many ways you can use the fitness side of things to set goals, smash goals, and then translate that into setting goals and smashing goals in other parts of your
yeah.
life,
You
whether
gotta
it's
make it
business,
happen.
whether it's family, whatever it might be. It's helped me to be able to, as it put that towards how I run. Like it's not my store, but I treat it like it's my store because I take pride in everything I do. But the shop that I run, um, it helps me set goals. So that, like for argument's sake, I run the fastest growing store in my state.
Mm.
Um,
Yes, yeah.
and that's purely off the back of my drive. I know it's not my store, but I set
Yeah.
myself a goal, and I wasn't going to stop till I hit it. But that's only because I've learned something through my training in setting goals and using that drive, and I suppose in finding a way to enjoy the process. It's not so much the end goal. If you get too fixated on the end goal, it's hard because it can be a lengthy process. So you've got to sort of find ways to enjoy the process getting there. It makes getting there even more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's funny. Um, this is something that I don't, and while we're talking about things that
Okay.
that we've never specifically talked about with other people and stuff before. Something you said there when you're talking about drive and you talk about where it's affected other parts of your life. There's there's a piece of um, there's a piece of my life that I look back on now, and I see it as a complete positive, but at the same time, I see it as how it has negatively affected my life as well. And it's one of those weird. w- Um, it's just this mind trip in my for my life that I'm still to this day trying to deal with and trying to sort out where a happy medium can be, and that is that during the entire time that I was in law enforcement, there was a time period early on where I was super focused on being physically fit. I was simultaneously, on the SWAT team for years, a SWAT sniper. I was doing bike patrol. I was doing all sorts of stuff. I had the department's first ever DUI stop on a bike. Uh, why in the world the guy actually pulled over for me, I have no idea. But so it was physical fitness was a huge thing in my life, and then I got to a point where it was less important to me, and as I focused on other areas of my life. But then there was that period where when it got to the point of the last couple years of my career, and when my youngest daughter was born, and I knew that I wanted to probably try to retire within the next couple of years once I hit my 20 years. And because she was born with Down syndrome, it helped me see life through a completely different lens than I had ever seen before. My first 3 kids, you know, they grew up and they were all at a certain age, and then there was a 10-year gap before my youngest was born. But seeing life through the smile that she had, even though the struggles that she had, and seeing that through there, it completely transfixed how I saw things. And so when time came for me to retire, I when I was able to retire to be stay-at-home dad, the huge positive for me was now I get to be a stay-at-home dad and play with her and see her every morning. I get to wake up to that smile every day. I get to see her grow. I get to spend all this time, and that was such a huge positive. But as I look back, there's one part of my life that changed, and that was I became a person who was more focused on saying, take your time. I would say, there's no need to be in a hurry. It was live your life. There, like you said, it goes by too fast. Take the time to enjoy it. And so my whole mindset changed, and it was like slow down. And I went from 90 miles an hour every place I had to go. I used to drive, you know, super duper fast. I used to walk super fast, and everything about it changed. I would started walking slow. I started just enjoying the, you know, thinking that I was enjoying those things. Now looking back on it, it seems like that's when things changed physically for me as well, because now I wasn't staying as physically fit. I gained a bunch of weight. Simple things changed, like just walking distances. When I would walk from a parking lot to a building, if it was a quarter mile or a half mile, when I'm walking with groups of people, it was more of a struggle for me to keep up with them. Even though I felt like I was walking in step with them, it was like my stride or something changed, and those things changed because it was less important to me. That
Oh yeah,
I was trying
no
to
doubt.
convince myself that I was relaxing and slowing down and enjoying life.
Right.
But what I was doing instead was letting the body fall apart, and not and thinking that I was doing it for a reason, and it was slowing, and I was enjoying things and slowing my life down. It's come with a flip side. It's come with a negative to it. And that's something that I've been trying to, it's been a huge struggle for me to fix in the last few years.
Oh yeah.
Just putting it out there. It's a
Oh
weird
no.
thing when you're talking about physical fitness. You're talking about how it's changed, because I used to be that type A personality. Go, go, go. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do. And now I'm so much
On the
more.
move.
I'm so much more. Hey, dude. Let's just. Hey, slow up. There's no need to be in a hurry.
Yeah, it's one of those like, oh, we'll see where it goes when it goes.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I also see the negative side of it now, because I struggle in so many other ways that I didn't used to struggle in. So
Oh yeah.
that's one of my huge. That's one thing that's really changed for me in my life.
Yeah, and you just gotta stay on it, man. Just gotta stay on it. It's one of those. It's one of those. Like, I have my vices. We all have our vices. It's like we want to give up this, but we kind of have this that holds us to it. You know?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know when and if Popeye's even going to join us. I have no idea.
Oh
I keep
yeah, shit.
I
Popeye
keep
was totally supposed to join it. That was
yeah
like an
I
hour
keep
ago.
yeah I keep looking back on things, and here we are. What are we? 45 minutes in, 48 minutes in.
Oh yeah, we're
uh,
almost like at our hour cap at
yeah.
this
Well,
point.
I don't know. We'll see if he joins us at all. If the conversation flows past an hour, we can flow. But so one of the things that um, one of the things that I just wanted to touch on a little bit was um, how we seem to focus so much on in the bearded villain community, and this is one of my big things is that I wanted to push from day one, obviously the brotherhood, but I wanted I wanted to be a part of something, and to um, say one of the things that I always tenets that I get that I always live my life on, and that it comes all the way back to, like I said, when that little mind flip happened in my 20s, that I always wanted to make people happy. And I always felt
Yeah.
like my day wasn't done unless I was able to put a smile on somebody's face. And it could be something as simple as opening a door. It could be something as simple as picking something up. It could be, whatever it was. I always wanted to find a way to surprise somebody or to make somebody's day or to make them happy. And so fast forward into adult life, and now through BV, seeing the opportunities that are out there to help out through charity and all this stuff, that's become a very big focus, I know, in many of our lives in what we do. But
Yeah.
I think it's really important that we don't forget that the other component of what it is that brotherhood, and that we need to make sure that we don't let our brothers down. We don't let the other half of that equation go down, in the effort to help charity out, help other people out. But we need to think about the brotherhood aspect and see what more we can do to be there for our brothers, and to be aware that our brothers aren't always going to shout out. They aren't always going to raise their hand and say, hey, I need help. But sometimes it's just a simple reach out, and you're going to discover that, hey, somebody needs something.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You should always go in to any of these meets with a grain of salt. It's like, hey, I'm learning a craft, but I'm probably gonna learn many other things in between. So you should, if you see robots, listen, just learn all the things. Learn the flags, learn the culture, learn wherever you are. Learn the things. Learn everything that surrounds you in these meets. Sure.
What's that been like for you, Matt? As far as now that you're in a leadership position, do you notice, or do you feel more of a responsibility that that you need to be aware of all those other people around you, and how their lives are going?
100%. Um, and again, sometimes I'm a bit hard on myself. Obviously, we all have lives outside of BV, and times can get pretty crazy, whether it's family, work, what have you, whether you got your own stuff going on, and then you sort of in the back of your mind, you might not have heard from someone in a chat for a few days, and so you go to reach out. So there's definitely that balance of taking care of your own business, but then also making sure that you are available, um, for your chapter members, and people you're close with outside of your chapter. Like, it's one thing I don't regret doing. I wouldn't say that's probably not the right way to put it, but like, that I'm thankful for, I suppose, is that I have reached out to as many people as I can, and there's still so many people I'd love to get to know outside of Australia. To have a lot of close people that I would happily call family, that aren't even in my own
Oh
chapter.
yeah.
Like, I've got, I love the dudes in my chapter. They are my brothers. But to be able to call other people outside of Australia family as well, I never thought in a million years I'd have that. And I wonder whether people utilise this brotherhood to the best of its, to the best of its ability. Sometimes I feel like people sort of stick to their own chapter and don't really venture outside and make the most of it, because
Yeah.
there's a massive world out there, and there's so many people from all walks of life. You never know who you'll speak to, and who might be able to shed some light on something you might be going through, or has been through what you've been through, or is going through what you're going through. Um, but you don't know unless you sort of put yourself out there. You're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. That's cool. Move on to the next.
Oh
It is what it
yeah.
is. Like,
No doubt.
when you're in a group that's this big, you're not going to be everyone's thing. You're not going to please everyone. Someone might think you're a dickhead. Whatever it might be, who cares? Move on to the next. You'll find someone you gel with, and you build a relationship with them.
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, that's definitely a good point, because I think a lot of times guys within the chapters or within the brotherhood think that that it's not okay if there's somebody they don't get along with, and then because there's that person, or there are a couple people that they just don't get along with, they throw the whole thing out. They throw the whole brotherhood out, and it's just like, these guys are just. And it's like anything else in life, there's going to be people that you just do or you don't get along with. And I think you're right with the aspect of taking advantage of what the brotherhood can offer you and what you can offer the brotherhood is so important. If you don't go out of your comfort zone, if you're afraid to reach out and talk to people in different cities, different states, different countries, you're taking away a huge component of what this thing can be and what it can
Oh
teach
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, and Radar, you're one of the most traveled villains that I know. I know that for you, it's completely changed your life.
Oh yeah. Being able to go, I mean, literally everywhere. I think I've got to experience BV in every country, every continent. I mean, I got to experience BV in Europe, the Latino countries, Canada, the States.
You'll have to come down to Australia.
You get an eyeful. You get, and I mean, you get a hell of an experience. And it's one of those. It's just like shit. Are our problems really that bad? No. You get to see it in every way, shape, and form, and it's like, okay, a lot of us are complaining about the least amount of shit. You know, um, I've traveled more for BV than I have for the Army, and it's one of those. It's just like, man, I got to see this literally in every way, shape, and form, and I love it. I love the experience that I got to, because like some of our issues here in the States aren't issues anywhere else,
Mm.
but some of the issues everywhere else aren't issues in the States. But you have to bring that. You have to bring that to light. You have to go, hey, we don't take this shit as serious over there.
Yeah.
You kind of want to lighten up. It's not that deep. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the most amazing things I think, and I've actually seen this in part through your travels, as well, that you've shared, the videos that you've shared and the charity things that you've done in other
Yeah.
countries. But one of the coolest things that I think is a really neat eye opener for us to recognize is the struggles that number one, the heart that and I just love saying it that way because it's like when I think back, this is selfish to me. When I start thinking about the heart of a villain, the name of the show, when I start thinking about what these guys do, what the guys that are in BV, what their heart is about, and giving back and being a part of something big and um, helping others' lives, and I see that there's a commonality all around the world that
Mhm.
guys want to have an impact. They want to help out, but a step ahead of that is it's so easy for us here in the States to say, we want to help out, we go help out. We want to do this, you just go do it. But to see that heart still is the same in other parts of the world, and yet they have so many roadblocks ahead of them in order to do that. They have government, they have all sorts of different roadblocks that say, well, if you want to do this, you have to do all these 15 different steps before you can do it. And still they do.
Oh yeah.
And still
Oh
they
yeah.
do. And that's what's one of the most amazing things for me is, it's not just going down to your local soup kitchen to help out, and the travel that these guys have to do, that they the loopholes they have to jump through in some of the other countries
Oh yeah.
just to help out, and they do it. I love that.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not fair. It's like we just want to give back. We just want to give you all the things that we can't use. Why is this a problem? Like, why are you jamming us up? We're willingly wanting to donate things. Why is this a problem? It happens. It happens.
And then
Yeah,
and,
it
and then
definitely
you get
happens.
into the political side of things too. We've got a chapter that had to be dissolved because
Had a
of
few
political
chapters there.
purposes.
Yep.
It's just sad that we don't live in a world where it's easy to just, if you have a heart for it and you want to help out, that there's so many things that are standing in your way of doing it.
Oh yeah. Like I love. At the very least, with BV, when it comes to like what I don't do, it's one of those like I love knowing that I know someone who knows everything about something in BV. At the very least, what I don't know what you get out of this, but at least network. At least get to know people, get to learn people who have skills, get to, appreciate bros who have trades and things like that. I didn't come in this for any of those things, but I love knowing that if I needed something from someone, I could find out from anyone across the world. I love knowing that I have someone that knows everything about something in BV. It's one of my favorite things. I love it.
Do you find more often that you are reaching out to guys that are stateside, or just is it just there's times where you're just reaching out to guys all over the world that you've met in some way,
Oh
shape, or
no,
form?
I think I hear from more people overseas. And I'm in the States, and oh God, Jesus, I'm just gonna say it. I don't know where you want to edit this, but I told VK personally, it's us, it's the Americans that fuck this up, right? We ruin BV, and it's the truth. It's the truth. All we worry about is rank, rank structure bullshit, blah blah blah. The patch on your chest, wherever the fuck you stay. I don't care. My influence in BV I was chapterless for almost 3 years, right? I can text our prez. Like it's just one of those. It's one of those. It's one of those like it sucks. It's hard. It's hard to speak on. Because I think about it, it's just like you don't need a rank, you don't need a position, you don't need anything. As long as where you stand in this is influential to people, and people give a shit about what it is that you do, you'll have the support, you'll have the backing, you'll have everything. But when it comes to you just wanting a title and position, people are gonna be like, "Oh, this dude is just after this shit." This dude just, I don't know how to support this. I just give a shit. I don't care if you're a hopeful, a captain, a co-captain, a made up ranks, whatever. I'm gonna talk to you.
It's just support.
Yeah, it's just support. I just wish that like everyone else did this shit, man. I wish that everyone else just spoke to bros for just being bros, man. Like I don't
Yeah,
care where you stay on the totem pole.
yeah.
That'd be
Matt, do
it.
you know? And this is something that we don't face, that you do, unfortunately, from where you're at. And I know that you have reached out and you have connections, like so many of us do that are overseas, that are outside of your country, that you can reach out to. But do you find it more difficult, knowing that I don't know what I guess what the exact part of my question is, but do you find it more difficult or more um, limiting, I guess, to feel like you're getting the full experience of BV because living in Australia by itself, it's not someplace that guys can easily travel to, or it's not someplace that you're easily able to travel from to get to all the other chapters. Do you find that that's limiting, or are you able to still keep those connections and everything else that you have through other ways?
Oh, look, it's definitely tough. It definitely adds another sort of wrinkle to things. Like when you sort of try and organise, you know, an Australia-wide meet, it's, your guys travelling, you know, multiple hours on planes to get to different, to get to one venue, and it can be tricky to sort of navigate. Like to this day, on my bucket list is to get over to the States to a world meet, and there's a few other um, sort of people and places that I definitely want to get to. Um, to whether it's to help out with a charity event that they run and be a part of that and help out, and whether it's just to go and hang out and just shoot shit and just talk till midnight. Um, but yeah, definitely in Australia, it's tricky for us as chapters, being so far apart. And like, it's part of the reason why New South Wales split, and
Hmm.
we still got guys in my chapters that are 5 hours away.
Mm.
Jesus Christ.
Um, so
Have y'all had
it's
anyone
tricky.
from the States show up in Australia?
Sorry.
Has anyone from the States or anyone else just showed up in Australia?
We
In
had
Asia?
we had a brother from who's part of the Asian chapter come out. He was out here on holiday with his missus. This was prior to COVID.
I mean, that's definitely
And so,
closer than
but yeah, that's sort of uh, as about as far away as we've had someone travel that I'm aware of, at
Babe,
least
I'm
in my
going to
time.
Australia.
Yeah, no doubt. I got a passport now. It's just it's one of those. You know, the sad thing is, I mean, I get that. You know,
God, I would
it's
love
a
to go. It's like 20 hours on a plane,
yeah, it's
though.
like a 20-hour flight. So for some reason, just because you're sitting up in the air a little bit longer than another flight, it's going to be like 3 times the cost. I don't get that
It's like
because
20 hours.
yeah, they're just pretty much in a glide slope when they're going around there. They're just. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not.
Going to
It doesn't
Australia
really
is
technically
dead.
cost. It shouldn't cost the airline that much more to be able to take you there that it does to a 4-hour trip across the country. But maybe
No,
it.
it's like 20 hours.
But it's 20 hours, and they kill you for that. They quadruple the cost of an air ticket. You know, an
No,
airline
my
ticket.
max has been like 10 hours on a big ass plane. 20 hours? Holy shit.
Yeah, I did my first intercontinental, I guess you'd call it, or whatever it is, flight. You know, a month or two ago to England, and that was just about
Hell
that
yeah.
was 7
Love that you went, bro.
7 hours, and I was so the guys over there. When you get somebody from a different country to come to your country, it means something, and
Oh, yeah.
they treat it, and you've been there, treat you like
20 hours,
gold.
bro. Holy
They
shit.
treat you like gold, and it's open arms, open hugs. You know, it's all about. That's when you really can see that brotherhood part of it, and I wish that there's guys that I know it's a money thing for a lot of people. Guys can't do those international trips, all the time, or even, it's a once in a lifetime for some people. But
And that's why we plan a year in advance. I
yeah,
was like, a year
but
out.
but if guys aren't at least trying to utilize, the time that they can get to hop in a car when they know that when there is an event that's only about 2 hours away or 3 hours away,
Yeah.
if they're not giving themselves that opportunity to meet people outside the chapter, it makes you, it hurts. It really does. It hurts my heart to see because what they're missing out on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Man. Well, definitely, Matt. It's definitely a bucket list item, and to get over there. But
It's the same for me to get over there too.
well, the rumors are next year. There's a place down south here in the States that might have the world meet. It's going to be. It hasn't been announced officially, I don't think, because they usually do that at the previous world meet.
Louisiana.
Yeah, yeah. So if you want to plan for a year out, if you can find a way to make that happen, we'll go down and see you down there for sure.
I think that's going to be probably the best bet to be able to sort of get to one event where I can sort of try and meet as many people in one place as possible without sort of having to take out a massive bank loan to be able to afford a big trip.
Well, yeah. I mean, you try. What you do is you go to one place and you tell everybody I will be in this place. I'm going 20 some hours. If you can't go 10 hours or 8 hours to come see me, I don't know what to do for you. It's
gonna be a ride, bro.
it's a car ride. It's a car ride for us to get down there. So,
Right.
yeah, we'll find it. We'll find our way down there if we know you're coming for sure. I know I'm already planning on being there, but love to see you down there. But yeah, it's what it is, man. It's part of this. There's this huge circle, man. It just comes back around. We start talking about reflection and what we want to do, how we want to be remembered, and where we want our place to be. What we want to, how we want to be remembered for the life that we live, how we want to be remembered for within the brotherhood, for the guys whose lives we've touched, but also the lives that have touched ours by the people that we've met.
Facts.
Too often, I think guys don't recognize. I think it's an issue with men. Number one is recognizing and admitting that your life has been touched in a positive way by somebody else's, because we have to be these big burly men.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
And if life has taught me anything over the last several years, it's that time moves quickly, and it's that Ferris Bueller line, you know, time moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around every once in a while, it's going to pass you by.
Oh
But
yeah, no doubt.
but people move in and out of our lives unexpectedly, and I think it's really important that that we recognize that that's the case. That people are going to move in and out of your life, and sometimes they're going to move out of your life for good when you least expect it. And so it's
Facts.
extremely important for us to take the time when we're there in the moment to let people understand, let people know what they mean to us, let people know how they've impacted us in a positive way, because you never know if you're not going to get that chance again.
Oh, I agree. Totally agree.
Well, we've been at this about an hour, a little over now, and we still haven't seen Popeye, so I'm not sure. Hope he's okay.
I don't know if he's joining. I don't think he's joining.
I hope he's okay.
Yeah, I'll reach out to him too.
We all need to reach out to him after this is done.
Yep.
There's a video, a short little video clip that I want to play and it's something that it came across my social media and made me go out and watch this show, the Ricky Gervais show, Afterlife.
I love Ricky Gervais.
I love him. I love his comedy, even though it's just completely wrong sometimes. But I love that part of it. Yeah. But there's this scene that I've seen jump across social media over the last several months from one of the episodes, and I get chills every time I see it because it is such a great message about giving back, about paying it forward, and about legacy, about leaving behind something that matters through your actions, and not caring for not caring for getting credit, not caring for any of that stuff that doesn't matter, but knowing that you made a difference and doing it when you can. And so I just want to take a second. This will probably on YouTube later after the fact get marked or something. But I just want to play this because I love this clip. And anybody that's here watching live, just pay close attention to this. Go out there and watch this thing later if you want to, this show, because it's really touching. But this clip I just love. And I got to go to this clip here, go to this screen here to play it.
That's all there is. Happiness is amazing. It's so amazing, it doesn't matter if it's yours or not. There's that lovely thing. A society grows great when old men plant trees, the shade of which they know they will never sit in. Good people do things for other people. That's it, the end.
I love that. Good people do things for other people. That's it, the end. Yeah. And when she says that, society grows great. Good men plant trees, the shade of which they'll never see. Thinking ahead and doing things that are going to be lasting, I think that speaks so well to what we can be and what we can strive for.
Oh yeah.
I love that message. I love that message. Well, I want to give you guys, since you guys have come on with me and just kind of open yourselves up a little bit, peel back some scabs a little bit. I want to give you guys each a chance to just kind of send any closing messages about any of the topics that we've talked about tonight. Matt, I'll start with you, Matt. What is there any last messages you want to leave for the guys?
I think it's just use this brotherhood to its fullest. Not many blokes out there, or sorry, I know it's a bit of an Aussie term, but there's not many guys out there that can that have what we have. that are a part of what you're a part of, that have the ability to know that they've got someone in their corner pretty much 24 hours a day. There's someone, I'm sure there's most people contact someone in a different time zone. So really, you're never alone, and not many guys have that. So utilize it. Get to know people. Be proud of what you got. Be respectful of one another. It's yeah, I think that's all I got. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I think it's well said. Well said. What about you, Radar? Any final closing thoughts?
I mean, aside from my usual saying, I just think that like I wish more of us would speak out on being who we are genuinely. I think if we were transparent enough to speak on what we go through, we'd have more guys just resonate with someone's message. It's just like, hey, I have a great life, but I go through my shit. You know, I just wish more guys would be able to say that. I wish more guys were comfortable saying, I have my problems, I have my issues, I deal with things. At the end of the day, we're human, man. Like, I can practice and preach that positivity shit all day, but I have my issues. I deal with things. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a citizen of this fucking city that's chaotic. I just wish that we would accept going. I have my bad days too. That's all I want to say. Like, I just wish that some of us really, like, I'm not here to project a highlight reel. I own my shit, and I love owning my shit to the masses. I love that people go, "Oh shit, Radar is a regular ass dude," because I put my shit out there. I'm not giving you every detail, but I love going, "Hey, I have my bad days just as much as the next." I just wish a lot of us did that. I just wish a lot of us did that.
Yeah.
Too many of us live in the social media world and highlight reels. Be real. Be transparent. Just you don't got to give everyone 100% of your shit, but just tell people that you go through shit.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's well said, man. Well said.
Yeah.
This may be the first of many of these episodes. I love these conversations that we have. Like I say, when we don't know where they're going to go,
Yeah.
we'll definitely have to have another one where we re-invite Popeye
They're the best
back.
conversation. Yeah, they're the best conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna have to definitely re-invite Popeye back to see if he wants to come on at another time, and we'll do another episode, part 2. And
Yeah, that
we'll
4-foot beard having son of a bitch. I love him. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure he's busy, but I
yeah,
love Popeye.
I do too. So, but
Yeah.
I know,
that man was my saving grace during COVID.
yeah,
Yeah. He tucks his beard into his waistline. I love him.
yeah, he's good dude, good dude. And I know he's got a lot of thoughts on this too. These topics as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. And he's a veteran. We talk all the military talk. I love him. He's
Yeah.
someone that I go to and someone that I respect. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I can let you guys go, and then I've got a little bit more business to attend to. I want to talk about a couple of really cool, very needed items that are going up, trying to raise some money for some causes right now, because of some health scares and loss within our BV community. So I'm going to cover that in just a few minutes, but. And like I said, I'm sure that there's others that I'm unaware of or that I'm forgetting that are affected by some of this stuff too. So I hate to
Make it happen, Gavin.
I don't want to leave anybody out, but there's 2 specifically that I want to address tonight. I know of. So, guys, thanks so much for coming on here. Matt, I really
appreciate having us on.
Matt, I especially appreciate you being out there and outside so we can listen to those beautiful birds chirping.
Sorry, I hope it wasn't too disturbing in the background for you.
No, it's been awesome. I love. It's like it makes me feel like I'm in someplace tropical and it's beautiful.
It's usually me out on the deck.
Yeah, it is. It would have been really cool for both of you guys to be out there chirping birds, and I'm down here closed off in the studio. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
look, I appreciate you having me on here and allowing me to, I suppose, open up and at the end of the day, as Radar was saying, you can only be you, be open, be genuine. So
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, hey, have a great night. Thanks so much for taking the time out with me.
I appreciate it, bro.
We'll continue these conversations. I'm sure in the coming hours and days for sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks again so much.
See you guys.
All right.
Take
Take
care,
care.
bros. See ya.
Peace
All right.
out, bro.
Bye.
Later.
Man, that was fun. A lot of fun. I love engaging in these kind of conversations with guys. I just I don't get a chance to do it. It seems like too often. But I just love it. I love it. And these guys, when they open up and they're willing to talk about stuff, it's a perfect example of how important this brotherhood can be. So I do want to acknowledge a couple things, as I mentioned earlier. While we were at the West Coast meet, one of our brothers, Mike, had a big health scare, and he made it to the meet and greet. And after the meet and greet, he didn't make the event on Saturday night at the West Coast meet. Come to find out, he was taken to the hospital, and he suffered what's been described as an aneurysm, and it's been posted in our chats, his health conditions, and it's been kind of up and down. He sounds like he's on the mend, but it's going to be a slow process through his rehab. And so I wanted to share with everybody a way that has been created to help give back a little bit. And one of the ways that has been set up to give back, the Bearded Villains Las Vegas guys came up with a patch, and it's in a pre-sale mode right now. What they're going to do is it's a $10 patch. You can pay it. I believe the PayPal is directly to Mike's PayPal, which is www.paypal.me/ his last name, Knoke, Michael, Knoke, Michael. And they would like for you to send a screenshot of your pay to Captain Cola at Cola BVLV, Las Vegas Captain. Send a screenshot to him online. Let him know that you've paid. I know that as of yesterday, at some point, they almost had $500 already in sales from these patches. Very cool. But it shows him with the guitar, and it's his encore patch is the way to describe it. So if you have any questions, reach out to Las Vegas and figure out if you just send them any questions that you have. He's got a long road to recovery, but so far as we know, things are trending upward, just a little slower than we'd like. And then the other thing that I want to talk about just real quick here locally here in Indiana, one of our brothers in Southern Indiana, and this was going to be one thing that I know that Popeye was going to touch on just a little bit, talking about loss and how life just changes in a flick of a switch type of a situation. One of our brothers down in Southern Indiana, Brent Alm, lost his wife in a car accident earlier this week. And obviously anytime something tragic like that happens in just the blink of an eye, it changes not only his life, the kids' lives, but everybody that knew her. And so she was a member of the Villainettes, and her best closest friends have created a pin, and I wanted to share this with you as well. Her name was Kelly, and she was so fun. She was so fun. Many of you people will here that are listeners may remember. There's a couple of times when she has taken part in the one word challenge over the years, and reached out. And so we definitely want to honor her and her life, spent very well spent and so short. But they've created a limited edition pin the cost of which is only $5. It's only $5. This post that they created, and we're talking about Puzzle's wife, Fran. If you know Puzzle, you know Fran. You know the family. She's in charge, it looks like, of creating this. And she has Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo ways that you can pay for this pin. The description says, the pin's unique design is a tribute to Kelly, our sweet unicorn sister, and all of her rainbow beauty. The hashtag legiterally is in honor of one of Kelly's signature catchphrases. So to purchase, just reach out to Fran on IG. She's at Fran_Gypsy, GYPSY, at Fran_Gypsy on IG. And she'll walk you through paying for it in one of 3 different ways: Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo. Again, $5. These are limited. So I know that they've had a lot of response so far. And I don't know how limited this is. I understand that they've been ordered, so it's not specifically a pre-order thing. So reach out to Fran if you can help out. When you have an unexpected death in a family with kids, when you leave behind kids, it's a lasting effect, obviously, and so unexpectedly. And they're looking. We're looking for ways that we can help out the family, obviously. So grab one of these pins if you can. If you feel like you want to make another donation larger than just the $5 pin, I'm sure that they can accept that as well. Just reach out to Fran. So thinking of those 2 families in this time, obviously, for sure. So that's what I wanted to mention as far as the merch items for this week. I just wanted to limit it to that. We've already been on the air for an hour and 25 minutes or so, but a great discussion that we had tonight, and I think it's definitely one that we can continue on for sure. This is a topic that's always evolving, and it's something that in my head, it's always there. It's always there. Thinking about, am I doing something that's going to change a life? Am I doing something? I always want to live so that I am doing that. I'm making somebody else's life better. I'm always trying that. That's what I want to do. I want to live my life to make somebody else's life better. And so, I will say this: one of my favorite kind of remembrance phrases, and this kind of goes directly toward Kelly right now. For those that knew her well and know that this is the truth, it's been said that the best thing that can be said about somebody after they pass away is that they made someone else's life better. And that when you think of them, that's, for a fact that they made your life better by knowing them. That person made someone else's life better by knowing them. And looking around social media, looking around Instagram, looking around Facebook, looking around all the ways, I think that's very apparent. That's been very apparent. And so we remember Kelly, wish the family well, and these coming days that I know are going to be very difficult. So guys, that's what I've got for you tonight. I appreciate those of you who are still here hanging out with us, and just pass on the message of this show, and the people that are not here with us tonight, pass this message on. Tell them to go out there and listen to this episode. It'll be out there on the standard podcast platforms later tonight for people to listen to, or on YouTube if they want to catch it at some other time out there as well. But guys, this is going to wrap up episode 179 of The Heart of a Villain. I want to challenge you guys, as I always do, to be the villain that the world needs you to be, because the heart of a villain never stops beating. Most important words I say every week, guys. I say them again. Please remember them well. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. If you are hurting, please find a brother to talk to. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. Guys, have a great night. Have a great weekend this weekend. I'll see you back here for episode 180 next week. Until then, take care. Stay safe.
Estimate the power of brotherhood. Every bro, every chapter, every caption. Heart of a villain, bro. Lights, camera, action. From the start to the finish.